Today we're going to start adding value. I just want you to do a portion of it and then you're going to submit it on Friday so I can give you feedback. And do not do the entire piece, because if you do it incorrectly, then you have to start over. Whereas if you just do a small portion, I can give you feedback. You can apply that feedback to make sure that you are growing as an artist. Okay, so I'm going to start with a tire. And I'm going to look for the highlights and the shadows. Now, in my example here, my highlights and shadows are going to be a little different because I did it in a different room, but there's a lot of noise in that room. All right, so you're going to look for things like this strong highlight where the sun is hitting the car, and it's very, very white. And even on this black car where you want to color the whole black wheel, a dark black or a gray, you still have this nice white highlight here and this white highlight here. On these details, you have that white, and then something that would be light. You have that shadow, a lightness. So those are the things we're going to look for while we're working today. And again, you're only going to do a small portion of your object. That way I can give you feedback. So you're going to do a small portion. You're going to apply all the things we did with our value scales. So here's my tire. Let me move the car over so you can see the car at the same time. Okay, maybe not because it won't focus. There we go. So here's the tire that I'm going to give you an example for. And remember, some of our goals were to get rid of these outlines. So I have this outline here, but I can see that there's also this strong shadow here. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to, again, do layers. So it is going to be darker. Okay, and I'm coloring really lightly because remember, if you color too dark at the beginning, then you get streaks and it doesn't blend. Okay, so there's my shadow. And then I can also see that the tire is going back. So I missed this when I was drawing it, and that's okay because I can add it now. But again, I have these outlines. To get rid of those outlines, I have to add value. So I'm going to add some shade in there, and then it gets lighter, and then I'm going to start over here and add some shade. And remember, go back and forth. I know this is a small area, but I'm still doing the same thing we did with the value scales where we, let me find a bigger space. Okay, so on this part, I'm gonna go light and it's gonna fade away. And then to make it darker, remember I go very lightly, light pressure, and I go the opposite direction. And that helps it blend in. Another secret is to use a dull pencil. A lot of times we want to use a nice sharp pencil, but the sharp pencil actually makes it more streaky. See how I made that glide out? It's a very smooth transition. So I got rid of this outline again by adding a layer 1 value and then a layer 2 going in a different direction. I kind of faded away. Another thing, my circle is not accurate here. So if you look at that tire, I should have a better circle. And so it's okay to take your eraser and change things up. My circle is a little too big. So I'm going to go ahead and make that correction. There's a little dot there. And then I have a neater circle I should take care of. And that wasn't quite a circle. So I'm going to fix that. And then if you look, I'm going to focus over here. You can see this nice little shadow here and that nice little highlight over there. So we're going to come back over here and try to add that. And again, my object is really hard for age 9, in my opinion. Okay, so it was dark and then we had a highlight over here. So if I have a highlight on that side, I don't want that outline there. So now I'm going to have to add a shadow onto this side. I did pick a difficult object so that some of you are going to have objects that are challenging to you. Hopefully your object is challenging. This is one that's challenging to me, so I have to think about all these little things. So see how we have no outline here, but we have an outline here, and that's why this piece looks flat. So if you don't want it to look flat, you got to get rid of that outline. I'm sure you can see another outline. So now I'm going to try to get rid of this circle here. So if we look back up on the tire, see how it goes dark to light? So over here, I'm going to come back down here, try to get rid of that outline. And then I'm going to use my eraser and just kind of tap it a little bit. Lighten up my outline. There you go. And then put a little bit of value on the outside. And now you can tell that there is a raised portion. So I guess that would be the nut of the tire. And again, you can go back and make any corrections that you need to. you should go back and make corrections. Make sure you're layering them. Because again, if you color real dark, I'm going to do this down here. If you color real dark, it gets streaky and you can't erase it and you can't change the value. You're just going to have outlines. I don't want that. Okay? All right, so here's the beginning of my tire. And then as I paid attention to all the highlights and shadows, here is my finished tire. So I don't have any outlines. I did not rely on, so the difference of the tires. So this one looks flat because this side has an outline. But over here, I used dark and I faded it out to light. And again, I did layers, so layering is very important. The top of the tire I missed, so I went back and I added it over here. I made sure that I went back and corrected all of my circles because they were not in the right spot. Like this one is too far over. I guess really it should be more right here. So you're gonna find those little mistakes, go ahead and erase them and correct them, because you're working slower now than you were when you were sketching it out. And when you work slower, you're gonna find more details and you're gonna be able to see these little highlights and shadows. So, and a lot of times it's a pattern. So if you look, I have a shadow and then a highlight and then a shadow, and then a medium shadow and then a highlight and then a shadow. So it kind of goes, if you have a highlight, you're gonna have a shadow next to it, and that's how you can see the marks. Okay, so there's my car. Again, do not do the whole piece, just pick a portion of it, do a small portion. Make sure you're layering your value scale just like we did in practice. And then make sure that you have no outlines. Small section, upload it on Friday. Remember my office hours. If you have any questions or want me to give you feedback before Friday, just log on to our office hour classroom, and I will be there from 9 to 11 every day if you need extra help. Okay? So, good luck. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.